Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Duffy Duck here once again, and I'm back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360/PlayStation 3 DLC playthrough. So, last time we actually did manage to tackle through Missouri DLC set of stages, and even then though that we actually did that pretty alright, except in forms of well, I did die in several occasions in the daytime levels, but apart from that though, for the nighttime levels though, on the other hand though, I've pretty much dominated with the forms of the nighttime levels. So, yeah, with that being said folks, today for this episode is the fact that we're going to be hit on to the next continent of the forms of that next set of DLC stages we're going to be running to, and that's the forms of Holoska. So, yeah, we're about to get started right there. So even then, there's only like 4 daytime levels in the actual DLC stages of Cool Edge, and then I could assuming that we actually have to come across into once again 2 of those nighttime levels until after we actually accomplish this. So with that being said, let's go start things off with the chronological order, starting with Act 1-2. So. And the ability you can only most use in this level is the stomping, obviously, and wall jump, because, well, you see one in just a moment. So, as far as Act 1-2 goes, it plays exactly like the regular Act 1, except it's a lot more difficult, as far as you guys should already know this, because there are purple spikes in the ground, or in this case, purple icicle spikes all over the ground. So even though that we could have potentially, and I've got frozen right from the get-go, so how convenient. Anyways though, and also there's going to be a lot of purple spike stuff is going to be on the actual water sequences going on right now, because even though that this is where things does get really tricky. So as a result, oh please, ah, dang it! Oh, what? Have to go all the way back here? Jeez. How dumb of me. How dumb of me. Anyway. So yeah, this stage can be very difficult sometimes because there are different obstacles we have to able to actually just to get on with this kind of stuff. Especially noticeable with this spiked wall over there that you have to purposely try to slide through it. So yeah, you know, it plays exactly like how it does it in the regular Act 1, except oh shoot. Let me just restart this. Yeah, because I might as well just figure this out. So anyways though, let's try it again. So anyway though, although if you manage to accidentally just press the reset option, then you would able to actually just go ahead and what? Okay, let's try this again. Hopefully get a bit of luck this time. And I'm hoping I can guarantee by that, because I swear I practiced this stage quite a few times, worth noting for. Especially noticeable I've played this on my own time, for not only for the Xbox 360 version, but also the PlayStation 3 version as well. So that way I can get a lot of practice on this, which, trust me, is a lot tougher than it looks, which even though still, I really found out to be quite tricky sometimes. Whoa! That was really close. But I've made it anyway though, so that's the only thing. So, anyways though, today was actually in forms of the 13th of June, in this case 2018. And I would appreciate if I were able to actually discuss upon the new stuff on E3 2018, which, truth be told, I said this in the forms of this particular last video, that I promise you guys I would able to actually discuss upon more stuff on the Nintendo E3 2018 stuff. Well, we've actually managed to come across into really surprising ones actually, which are, well, the only thing I wasn't interested of though is the forms of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC, which I will admit that I'm still not a big fan of that game, I'm afraid guys, because, well, you know, they removed the vision system where Shulk usually performs that ever since, you know, the first game, and especially notable with Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U and 3DS, so yeah, as far as I can figure it. So, speaking of which, of Super Smash Bros., actually I'll save that for later, until at the end of this video anyway, because, well, I can't tell you that at the moment, because even then I might as well able to concentrate on Holoska at the moment, because there's going to be a lot of difficult segments here, especially noticeable with, you know, again, with these purple spike stuff all over the floor, so even then though that we could expect it to be able to actually dodge through those, and even especially noticeable how the fact that there's one of those emphasis that, you know, these giant icicle stuff that usually comes out of the ceiling, and then able to actually crash land it into the forms of the actual ground. Yeah, these little icicle stuff will actually just act out like spikes, so That's one thing I should notice that. So, anyways though, back into what I was saying, also, aside from that, they also did announce the, some new info about the forms of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu / Let's Go Eevee editions on Nintendo Switch, which even though they briefly showcase off with the forms of the actual gameplay, and especially with the Pokeball Plus Joy-Con controller, which technically we've already known that in the forms of the reveal trailer back in during the likes of about, let's just say, a month ago, or almost roughly a month ago, so... But we've definitely noticed that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee editions is definitely real, so might be curious to be able to actually just to try that game out. I would try, you know, Let's Go Pikachu edition, because Pikachu is actually one of the cooler characters in the forms of the Pokemon universe, to me though anyway. And after that, this what makes this really so special to me, is that you remember when I mentioned this before, especially when Pinkie Pie already mentioned about this back in during the likes of our Let's Play of Mario Party the Top 100, but it informs about the fact that I was really disappointed on that specific lack of amount of content, that we would appreciate about the fact that we'd like to see a next Mario Party game next time around, even especially noticeable with the Nintendo Switch game of Mario Party. And even especially noticeable by the fact that recently held the fact that in a couple of days ago that I've recently managed to finish up with the forms of our Let's Play of Mario Party Advance, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, when I wasn't expecting that time, that Super Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch has been just revealed, and I called Pinkie Pie, and then came out and joined yesterday, or revealed last night. And I was like, gosh me. Anyways though, so actually before I get to that however though, yeah, I've got myself my beautiful S rank on that specific run through, despite the fact that I've died several times at the beginning, most notably because of the actual obstacles themselves can get ridiculously over challenged. So anyway, that does it for Act 1-2. And now let's go ahead and move on to Act 2-2, which as far as I'm aware, we're actually going to be going through lap to lap syndrome, which even then though, yeah, because of this one here. So, anyways, as far as the lap, series stages goes, to be honest with you guys, I'm really not a big fan of the lap set of stages, because most of the time you have to go for the exact same amount of, segments noticed. The only noticeable difference is the fact that, they add something a little bit more tricky than that. So, anyways though. But as far as I'm aware though, is that this stage plays exactly like, oh, really? Do I run into that, spiked obstacle like nothing else? Seriously? Anyways, though, yeah, as far as I'm aware, though, about that, is because, oh, you... That was my fault right there. That was seriously my fault there. Yeah, this level plays exactly like the regular Act 2, except it's a lot more difficult than the regular Act 2, because even then, though, all you have to do in this level right there is the fact that we need to complete the level within 3 laps. So, if you manage to bypass 3 laps, then you'll be good to go and able to actually obtain a gold ring in the process. So, I would have normally tried to able to perform some shortcuts there, but due to how the fact that I might easily run into things by complete accident, so there's no point for me to able to do that though. So, oh, why do I got electrified on purpose? What's the point of me? Jeez. Even though I'm not exactly raging at the moment, I'm sure enough it will be. But even then, no, as far as this point in time, folks, I was really damn excited by the forms of, you know, E3's been happening. By the forms of how the fact that, well, you know how the fact that when, as far as I've mentioned this about this before, about the fact that with the Super Mario Party, oh great, I gotta drown. Yep, I did drown. So, oh well. But at least we got a checkpoint though, so that's a good thing. Anyway though, it's the fact that with the forms of the actual official gameplay of Super Mario Party, because I need to get used to that name, because I'm more used to with the forms of just calling it Mario Party, but now it usually calls it Super Mario Party, because it feels kind of similar way to how it does it back in 2007, that in the third entry of Paper Mario usually calls it Super Paper Mario, so it feels more accurately somewhat similar to the new Mario Party game has been announced, which is the forms of Super Mario Party, which is kind of an odd name, but hey, at least there's no number related this time around though, because there was originally going to be Mario Party 11, but it wasn't, so even though that makes it a little bit of a more accurately, like, I don't know about to think about it, but whoa! Jesus Christ, man! Jeez. That momentum somehow just gone a little bit all over the place there. Anyway though, so we actually got onto this bobsled section again, so I think, yeah, I just completely failed that on purpose though, because, it's not being my fault or anything, it's just my timing jumps can get a little bit delayed sometimes. Even especially noticeable in this game specifically, because, you know, if you're used to with colors and generations and stuff like that for that nature. So anyways, now we move on to the third and final lap, which won't be as difficult, except there's going to be quick time events, of course, so we'll start to come across into them. Which, thankfully, though, I've managed to be successful those kinds of stuff. So, oh my god, this is so intense, and oh my god, oh, what's going on? Oh my gosh, ah. Oh! Whoa! Oh my god. What is going on? Holy crap! So many things on sight. Okay, at least we managed to avoid those. And the last part is just simply we need to skydiving from here and on to the century. And, oh, I've got the achievement right there. That's pretty cool. And, not to mention, I've got myself a beautiful S rank. So, how about that then, huh? And you can see those penguins are dancing along with this little particular orchestra piece. So, I like that. So, anyway, you know that achievement I've got? The ringleader, this, I'm assuming you have to collect, like, 5,000 rings or something like that? Which, that may seem the case, mind you. So, anyways, though, that does it for that level, and I believe we're now going to be moving on to, Act 3 now, so I wonder how this is going to be turned out to be, at least expecting that it won't be, like, nearly as difficult as, Act 2-2, so, and I believe, just like the ones in, Act 2-2, is another one of those lap-based levels, except the fact that we have to deal with a time limit this time around, though, so, how much time do I have to do this, though? An hour, oh, no, the minute and 20 seconds, okay, still got some plenty of time though, at least if I don't run into things by complete accident though, so, it's not just right here, so, and plus I've heard there are some emphasis, there's going to be a couple of moments whenever you come across into a glitch sometimes, which, thankfully I don't actually come across into those surprisingly though, because normally I just know what to do right here, so, that flipping iceberg just hit me on purpose. But that's okay though, because we got back to the beginning anyway, because if you manage to activate the checkpoint and if you manage to dive from that later part of the level and able to restart whenever you touch the checkpoint, unfortunately though, the time will actually, or the time limit rather, just managed to continue going on, so even though that's the only bad thing about this level though, so, not again, are you serious? Jeez, come on. Alright, let's do this for a third time's a charm, and hopefully we can able to actually bypassing it. So, it's a good thing too, that because we keep on dying instantly in this level though, thankfully though, we've got ourselves an extra life back. So, okay, so as far as for my advice I might as well think about, is that I highly suggest you wait until the iceberg is about to be falling apart. And there you go, because the reason why I'm trying to go after the rainbow rings is because, well, keeps you to your score counts and all that stuff, so in fact this might actually be the hardest level to be able to get S rank from, is because, well, because you do have to worry about the time limit, in addition to actually going to have to deal with ice physics at times, which even then though, that could be only something worth mentioning though, so, plus I need to take myself slowly, there we go. Hopefully we should get more Delta 4 anyway, so, and plus you do need to be very careful with these narrow parts here and there too, because if you do, then, well, if you lose your balance on that specific part right there, you're pretty much gonna die instantly if you manage to accidentally fell into the water, so, and no matter what though, since the water is still really cold, especially consists of how the fact that we're in Holoska of any sorts, a snowy themed world, then we get expected to be able to freeze to death, so, there we go then. Third time's a charm, victorious, and let's see how rankings I've got. Really? I've got my D rank, thanks. Oh wait, it doesn't give you a miserable music until when you get a D rank, never mind. Well, until when we get to Tunon level pack, for DLC stages anyway though, because I'm gonna tell you right off the bat though, we might as well figure this out though, after we deal with Spigonia after this, so even then. Now let's move on to Act 4, and I'm presuming this stage only requires air boosting, because, well, you're soon to be able to find out until whenever this loading screens is done.
Here we
Alright, here we go. Right, so you know that dash ramp here? We have to make our way to the whole gap between platform to platform while simply air boosting. So, that's all you really have to do. So, anyways though, back into what I was saying about the forms of with the, oh really? Do I have, like, a lack of depth perception? Or maybe it's just because of the, I can't really judge the distance. Anyways though, as far as the Super Mario Party, it looks like we've gone back into the classic, gameplay style from the old school days, which is about time. And I don't really think there's no, gridding system, but in forms of compared to Star Rush and the Top 100, which is a good thing, because, well, I don't mind the gridding system from, Star Rush and the Top 100, but the thing is, though, is the fact that the board themes, especially noticeable in the minigame match in the Top 100, is incredibly lack of originality, or even in this case, creativity, if you will, because all it does is just nothing, and there's no stage hazards. Well, unless if you actually count World 4 in Star Rush, but even then, that's as far as I can tell from that little situations goes. So, anyways though, since we've actually used the stomp ability, because again, stomping is actually required to do in this level, because to actually activate the switch, so that way we could potentially try to able to make our way to the goal ring. So, and this is basically, you just have to like, whoa! Jeez Louise, man! What's going on with this level design? Anyways though. Alright, so we've almost there, so... No, what?! Okay. If you probably couldn't tell already that I keep on wasting my lives because I just had a hard time on this level for some reason. It's nothing because of how the fact of my lack of skills I performed. It's most likely because you have to rely on the air boosting. And plus timing on the air boosting can get pretty difficult sometimes. Which I will admit though, that can usually happen in most cases though anyway. And anyway. As I was saying, with the forms of Super Mario Party, as far as I keep on mentioning about this before, they're trying to actually bring back the classic gameplay style from 1 to 8, which I'm really glad about. And plus, I think it might actually bring us to, like, the 3-item system, just like the ones in, before. Especially since, before or after the Top 100 for the minigame match, which even I know that would have been appreciated by this kinds of stuff like that. And also not to mention though, to make matters even much more interesting than that, is the fact that not only does the usually brings back the classic gameplay elements from the past Mario Party entries, well to be more specifically, Hudson stuff in anyways, but also the character roster is completely interesting because not only does it brings back the old school or the old playable characters once again, ever since the different generations. Well, there's only 2 exceptions, mind you, which much like the ones in the Top 100, there's no Toadette has been playable or Toad has been playable either, because it's basically, as you expected from many other Mario parties, when it comes to promising playable characters and all that stuff, but even then, I'll explain more on that as soon as we get to the Werehog stages. But for now, yes, beautiful A rank. So that was 3 S ranks in a row in this video though, which as far as the actual Holoska goes, except Act 3 though, because I just usually take myself so slowly, and expecting this much to be either way, so still I was 1 off experience points for that specific speed type, god dang it. Right, that does it for the daytime stages now, so let's go ahead and move on to the nighttime levels. So again, as far as I mentioned this before, there are only 2 of those levels, so we're about to get started right there. Like, we've got Act 2 and Act 3. So, we'll get started with Act 2 first. So, yeah, let's get to it. So, yeah, as far as I'm aware, for that point, as back as what I was saying about the forms of the actual playable characters in Super Mario Party for Nintendo Switch, they're actually going to be bringing up to, like, not only the old, old returning characters back, but also these newer ones as well. Like, one of them is actually Goomba, and another one was the forms of Monty Mole, and especially Pon Pon from Super Mario 3D Land. So, with that knowledge, with the forms of some of these returning characters from the past Mario Party games, we can expect it to actually come across into, like, not 12 this time around though, because we've already gained sick of, like, seeing 12 playable characters every single series. Like, we've already had 12 playable characters in Mario Party 9, and also Mario Party 10. Well, technically 13 because of Bowser's Party, or Bowser Party rather, and also we've actually come across into like 12 playable characters in Mario Party Star Rush, and that's about it, obviously. And also in Mario Party Island Tour, they actually bring up 10 playable characters, and also only 8 playable characters in the top 100, which again is kind of a lame amount that we can able to do have, but that's just how it is for me. But anyways though, enough about this. Let's go ahead and beat the likes out of this little particular abomination monster here. So even then, we can hopefully guarantee to able to actually gather as many Unleash gauge as possible. And even then, that should be pretty much overstated, mighty small, I don't know. So anyways, as far as I was saying, but in forms of another piece of information I was going to bring up, but in forms of Super Mario Party from the Nintendo Switch, because I keep on saying that because, well, not to mention what the forms of the actual gameplay is going to be bringing back the classic elements ever since, you know, the good old Mario Party entry. So, thank God, no more car mechanics ever since Mario Party 9 or 10, because I know a lot of people seem to get really ticked off from the actual car mechanic system with both Mario Party 9 and 10, which I understand that because they really do miss the old days back then, because even then, especially in 2012 and even 2015, although granted though, the fact that I'm really glad the actual classic gameplay aspect in Super Mario Party is more fleshed out than the likes of the top 100 minigame match though to me though, because as far as it's things on the side note, I think that game shouldn't just be the actual this is how it should be done in the actual Mario Party the top 100, although except the fact that it's on the 3DS, which even then I was still a little bit anxious about that back then, but at least I can get it over with though. So, and plus, that game was almost a year old now, which even then, until when it gets to November this year though, so at least for North America, and that's for sure for that little knowledge. So, and also for the actual, you know, the actual, depth to the actual boards themselves. I don't know how many boards they're going to be introduced in Super Mario Party though, but we've already actually got ourselves just only one of them so far, and now it's the forms of Somewhere in the Ruins. So, that's the only things we can think of. And I don't know what the other environments will take place into. I was really hoping there's going to be like a new Donk City inspired world or something like that. Although, again, it wasn't announced just yet though. Or if speaking of which, you know how the fact that with the forms of the bronies out there, with the forms of, you know, we're still at the halfway point of the forms of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 8. That, granted though, that because we've already, passed through the mid-season of or the middle portion of Season 8, guess what the, Super Mario Party is going to be released then? Originally it was going to be released until at some point in 2019, but turns out they're going to be releasing that in 2018. Jesus Christ, man. All these Mario Party games always attempt to release on the exact same year as the seasons from the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic franchise. Like, you know, let's run down the list, shall we? Like, we've already established that before from earlier ago, that, you know, Season 3 came out almost roughly the exact same year as Mario Party 9's released, and Season 4 came out in the exact same year as Mario Party the top, no, not the top 100, Mario Party Island Tour, and then in 2015, in Season 5, they released that in the exact same year as Mario Party 10, and Star Rush came out the exact same year as Season 6, and the top 100 came out in the exact same year as both Season 7 and My Little Pony the movie, and now we have Season 8 came out in 2018, came out on the exact same year as Super Mario Party. This is pretty ridiculous, if you ask me, between both of those releases, between both of the franchises, and I was like, this is crazy, I'm telling you, this is really crazy. Anyway, though, let's get to the realistic points here, because of how the fact that the actual release date of Super Mario Party is going to be released until the 5th of October 2018, which even then, though, that it might be very surprising for me though, because it did last time done this by the forms of the October release, with the forms of the NDQ Mario Party titles and stuff like that. Like last time they've done it is the forms of in the Mario Party Star Rush for the 3DS, at least in the UK version. So, at least in this time around though, expecting to be able to actually release the game everywhere else now, which I don't know if it might actually do the exact same way for a Japan version, which I might as well be able to look that up at some point or another. So anyways though, so that's Super Mario Party. I was really looking forward to that game actually, because it's about time they're able to now finally put a Mario Party game on Nintendo Switch, which that's how it should be done for the top 100, but because of the way how the developments work, then, you know, it's probably too late for now. So, speaking of which, about the fact that there's actually another exciting thing that I was really excited about. You know, the forms of back in during the likes of the 8th of March in 2018, they did actually announce the next Super Smash Bros. Game for the Nintendo Switch. It turns out in the E3 2018, Nintendo anyway, that they actually did reveal the final name of the forms of Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch, but now it calls it Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which to me is a kind of a better name compared to the other two names from the previous Super Smash Bros. Games ever since 2014, which are, you know, Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, and I was like, I think that's kind of a lame name, honestly, though. I could have just wished if I like to call it Super Smash Bros. 4, instead of like, well, I know it's kind of a little bit of my honest opinion about this, but I digress though. I'll explain more on that later, because we've actually finished up with Act 2. So, yeah, and as a result, I've got myself a nice, glorious S rank, just like before. So, not bad, not too complicated, but even then, no, it's not that much to discuss. The only time it makes it difficult though is the forms of difficult platforming sections, because you can tell, with the forms of this little spinny platform, they do have to jump from platform to platform, including the likes of the spinny platform you have to worry about now. So, there we go then. Now let's move on to Act 3, which I really guarantee this might be something to do with puzzle heavy levels. So, because of that though, we'll get to it until right about now. So anyways though, let's get into it with Act 3 right there. So, again, it's going to be puzzle-based levels, so anyways though, you know how the fact with the forms of, they actually did bring back some of these, the exact same character roster as of how it does in Smash Bros. For the 3DS and Nintendo Wii U, but also they're going to be bringing back some of the old, fighters as well. But not only that, they actually did announce new fighters out there, like, for instance, they bring back Ice Climbers. Thank you for actually bringing them back, because we haven't saw those duos since 10 years ago, since Brawl. So, about freaking time. And, also they did actually bring back is the forms of Pichu, which I know some people seem to never use Pichu as much, in mine itself included, because, you know, whenever he uses his electric attacks, they, sure enough, they manage to, hurt him. So, even that, no, yeah. And also they did bring back is the forms of Young Link ever since Melee, which even then, now we've actually going to be fighting against with 3 counterparts of Link, just like in the forms of Hyrule Warriors, both the Wii U, 3DS, and Nintendo Switch versions. So, looks like the Nintendo Switch is doing so far so good, especially noticeable with the forms of the actual game's performance themselves. So even then though, really excited, very damn hyped for it, especially with Super Mario Party and even Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because, well, I would like to bring things up for a Let's Play of Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, well, except the 3DS version, because the 3DS version I really can't do at the moment because of how it felt with the forms of the actual recording sessions and all that stuff. The only thing I might actually curious about is the forms of the actual modes they're going to be bringing up to, which even then though, I'm sure enough though, is that the release date is going to be at, almost nearly towards that Christmas time, just like the ones in the, Super Smash Bros. 4, the Wii U. But except this time around though, it's going to be releasing until December the 7th this year, so this might be a really, really good holiday season gift. Just like in the forms of back in during about a year ago, but in forms of Super Mario Odyssey, which that's mainly the case here. So yeah, it's gone pretty crazy kind of thing about it, but the only downside I can think of with the forms of this particular Nintendo Direct of E3 2018 is that, once again, they have not showcased the new Yoshi game or the Metroid Prime 4 discussion, because even then, I was really, really excited for those 2 games as well. But the really stingy about this is the fact that they have not shown any of the new infos yet, because it's barely a year ago since we've last heard about the new Yoshi game for the Switch, because they continuously trying to able to actually put up a small amount of library of games as possible, where aside from that, specific excitement with the forms of Super Mario Party and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But as from any others, I wasn't really interested of. Well, besides the there's also another thing I'd like to discuss upon is the forms of the new info and plus the release date of the forms of the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle DLC, which is usually called a Donkey Kong Adventure. It actually got itself the release date, and especially noticeable with the new trailer. And the release date is going to be revealed. It's going to be at the 25th of June. Well, at least if you actually access to the season pass pre-orders. And or if you haven't, then you can actually get this until the 26th of June during that time, which is roughly 4 days after the release of Mario Tennis Aces, by the way, for the Nintendo Switch. Which even then, though, we've only got. Speaking of which, we've only got about, like, let's just say, 9 days left until Mario Tennis Ace is about to be released. So, still, I'm really excited about that game, especially noticeable that I can play online to able to actually get some certain unlockables and all that stuff, and everything else with ease. So, and talk about that addition is the fact that also beyond that, I was right about this with, I would say that how the fact that Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle will get ourselves the additional other version of it, but this time around though, they're going to be bringing us the Gold Edition, which actually contains not only every single, contents that we get, but also by the forms of the Donkey Kong Adventure as well. And I was like, cool. Even though that, I might rather not get the Gold Edition, although it might be really cool at first, but, the only unfortunate thing though is the fact that I've already obtained the original version of the game, so that's the only reasonable premise for this point right here, folks. So even then though, yeah. Aside from that, oh yeah, you have to be very careful there, because since we have to do with, whoa! Jeez, that was really close. Because we have to do with ice physics at times, which even then though, that might be sounds illogical, especially noticeable, you have to be super sensitive with your analog stick, or even in this case, the actual thumbstick on the 360 version. If you accidentally drop this little, pendulum stone from the actual bottomless pit, don't worry though, you can able to actually backtrack for a bit, and then hopefully the pendulum stone will able to actually respawn onto that current point. So, that makes it very obvious and simplistic, or no, not simplistic, very simple and easy to get to. So, and then we come to this part right there, after dishing out as many of those enemies as possible. I'm considering we have to do with a puzzle solving this time around though, because every single stones are in the opposite pendulums, which even then though, take the yellow stone for example, that was originally placed on the forms of the green pendulum, which that's not going to be the case because we have to switch them. So, let's put this green stone, or the blue stone, sorry, hopefully as you can see on screen. Now we can actually place the blue stone onto that pendulum, onto that correct spot in color, and vice versa it goes on. Like, I believe you can only insert, like, only 3 pendulums, so yeah, that's just mainly the case though. So even then, that should be self-explanatory right there. So, and, for what I've noticed by the forms of the, oh, speaking of which, another thing I'd like to talk about is the forms of how the fact that I'm really excited about this as well, about the fact that with the new trailer has been announced by the forms of Kingdom Hearts 3, which not only does it contain not 1, but 2 worlds they've actually confirmed. Like, one which is going to be the new one, which is usually based off from Frozen, which is a good thing I actually managed to discuss that in the forms of this particular DLC playthrough of this, because, you know, it's going to be usually I was going to be discussing upon if what the Frozen world is going to be confirmed in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I was really excited about this. Especially noticeable, it usually takes place in Elden World. I think that's what that actual location is called. Which, I know it's been a while since I actually watched Frozen and all that stuff, which even then I need to get back into that because of Kingdom Hearts 3's release on that stuff. And also, they're going to be bringing back the Pirates of the Caribbean worlds, but now it's going to be called the Caribbean instead of Port Royale. Which, I could assume this may actually take place in the forms of Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End this time around though, which is a little bit different mind you. And finally, before we end this off, is the fact that, unfortunately though, the release date is going to change for Kingdom Hearts 3. It's going to be releasing until next year, which even then, I was a little bit more exciting for Worlds and also disappointing for release dates to me though, which even then, I'll explain more on that later until the next video though. So that being said, folks, we've pretty much done with Holoska DLC stages. So yeah, with that being said, we're going to end things off at this point right there. So join me next time on Let's Play Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360 / PlayStation 3 DLC playthrough. Is the fact that we're going to be hit on to the next destination we want to get into, and that's the forms of Spagonia DLC. So even then though, I have experienced some of these stages in Spagonia, but I haven't really played the majority of it though, like, even then though, we'll explain more on that later as soon as we actually jump into this particular level right there. Now, I've apologized by the forms of how the fact with my commentaries all go a little bit glitched up there. So anyway, see you guys next time. Later, fellas.